Madam Speaker, I rise today in support of this rule and the underlying bill. For the past 30 years, we've used a patchwork system of clauses and amendments to protect American tax dollars from being used to pay for abortions. Every year, Congress has to attach a series of amendments to appropriation bills specifically stating that funds spent in that legislation may not be used for elective abortions. Every year, these amendments pass. These amendments pass, Madam Speaker, because members of Congress know and recognize the fact that the vast majority of Americans do not want their hard-earned money to be spent for abortions of innocent unborn lives. In 2010, the Zagby-O'Leary poll found that 77% of Americans believe that federal funds should never be used to pay for abortions or should only be used to save the life of a mother. 77%, Madam Speaker. This number proves that even people who support a woman's right to choose still believe that tax dollars should not pay for that choice. Clearly, the time has come to move beyond this piecemeal approach and reform the way our nation addresses this very important and sensitive issue. H.R. 3 simply codifies and makes permanently the policies that currently rely upon regular reapproval of Congress. Among the riders made permanent to H.R. 3 are the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits funding for elective abortion coverage through any program funded through the annual Labor, Health, and Human Services Appropriation Act. The Helms Amendment, which prohibits funding for abortion as a method of family planning overseas. The Smith Federal Employee Health Benefit Plan Amendment, which prohibits funding for elected abortion coverage for federal employees. The Dornan Amendment, which prohibits the use of congressionally appropriated funds for abortion in the District of Columbia. The Hyde-Weldon Conscience Clause, which ensures that recipients of federal funding do not discriminate against doctors, nurses, hospitals, because they do not pay for or cover or refer for abortions. Madam Speaker, a woman's right to choose can be a divisive issue that splits American people down the middle. However, we aren't talking about a 50-50 issue. We're talking about 77%. It's clearly a majority. Just like Americans on both sides of the aisle believe that tax dollars shouldn't go to pay for abortions, so do the members of Congress from both parties. There are 227 bipartisan co-sponsors of H.R. 3. I'm proud to be one of those co-sponsors. H.R. 3 will ensure American taxpayers are not forced to fund what many consider the destruction of innocent human life through abortion on demand. The No Taxpayer Funding Abortion Act will establish a government-wide statutory prohibition on funding abortion or insurance coverage that includes abortion. This comprehensive approach will reduce the need for numerous separate abortion funding riders. It eliminates the abortion-related amendments to appropriation bills that the rules of the House remind us aren't even supposed to legislate through amendments. It ensures that all federal programs are subject to this important safeguard. Once again, Madam Speaker, I rise in support of this rule and underlying legislation. I encourage my colleagues to vote yes on the rule and yes on the underlying reservation bill and reserve the balance of my time.